said something with a biblical basis, but they didn't like it.
Yes.
And then God will raise up a couple. Just a simple little couple. Hard-working couple.
Yes.
I don't need to get deeply into this for time's sake. And because some of you who don't have the gift of complaining have the spiritual gift of exaggeration. Can I tell you, you're in my adult life. And please don't make something out of this. This is not there. I'm not bragging about this, and I'm not complaining about this, but I just feel like I need to say this to help somebody. I'm prone. I'm capable of going from the highest high to the lowest low. I'm just saying that to help somebody. Now, please don't go home and call somebody that I went to high school with and say, you know, I'm not sure, but I think Keith was on that bridge that was going over 123. Tonight on the way home, I think I saw him. I think he's getting ready to jump. You ever hear about me jumping off some bridge? It will be a safe landing. I'm telling you, I'm very, very capable of slipping, but by the grace of God, into very, very deep depression. I was pastor in the Second Baptist Church in Pendleton. We were getting ready to leave Pendleton and go to Greenville. I was 26 years old. I never told anybody how depressed I could get. And my wife was in nursing school. And I was in a house full of boxes that had been packed, waiting on the moving truck. And I'll never forget, from up here at the top of Church Street, there was a little man by the name of Jake Earl, who was a member of the church. Jake had a third-grade education, went to work in the cotton mill when he was about 10 or 11 years old. That's all he'd ever known. That's back before any kind of laws or regulations. All he'd ever done was work in the cotton mill. He came down the hill, I'll never forget it. He knocked on the door. He came there, he said, "Preacher," he said, "I had a dream last night." He said, "You probably won't think old Jake's crazy." He said, "I dreamed you was depressed." He said, "Please don't think I'm crazy." He said, "But God told me to come tell you everything's going to be all right."
Amen.
You never read about Jake Earl in the Baptist Courier. You never had Jake Earl to stand up at the annual associational meeting and give a report on Connie Maxwell or North Greenville University. He's in heaven now. All he ever was, as far as this world was concerned, was a limp head. But I want to tell you, to me, he was precious.
Yes.
These people were not famous, but they were faithful.
Yes.
The greatest investments are not in stocks, but in souls. Wintertime is getting here quicker.
Yes.
And quicker. And quicker. Now, wintertime is further down the road for some of you. But for some of us, wintertime is getting closer. Getting closer and closer. We're not freezing to death yet, but we're somewhere between late fall and early winter. came by the house of God tonight to tell you that the God of the summertime is the God of the wintertime. The God of the mountaintops is God of the valley.
Amen.
For 13 years, it was a privilege for me and my family to serve Jackson Baptist Church. Jackson Baptist Church had a man of God who pastored it many, many years ago. His name was Ansel Pruitt. Ansel Pruitt left Jackson Mill and went to pastor City View First Baptist Church. It was in January. On the 25th day, 1973, that Sethy Hester was having an all-day revival preaching meeting over at Reedy River Baptist Church on Highway 25, going out of Greenville toward Trappers Rest, there on the left. Somebody got sick who was supposed to preach that day, and Sethy Hester called Ansel Pruitt and said, "Ansel, would you come preach tonight? So-and-so is not going to be able to come. Could you come?" And Ansel Pruitt was a tall guy, head full of wavy hair, converted to Christ from a family of moonshiners and bootleggers. No kind of Christian heritage, but when God saved him, I mean, he just did a great job. And that night, Ansel Pruitt stood up and preached Psalm 23. And the last thing that he said was, "I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever." He walked down out of the pulpit. He sat on the front row. And from the front row of Reedy River Baptist Church, he went immediately to heaven. My wife's grandmother will be 91 years old on Friday. We affectionately refer to her as Go-Go Granny. Every time there's a wedding or anything like that, all the granddaughters have to make sure that she doesn't buy her ear bobs too big or her dress too short. I promise you. She is a sight. One day people were standing around this talking about, "Well, you know, I probably don't have long to be here." She looked at me, she said, "Keith, I've got two things to say." She said, "When I die," she said, "I want you to preach my funeral." She said, "You're the only person I know who can make me sound like a good woman." But then the second thing she said to me is this. She said, "But don't start planning it." She said, "Because I want to live to be 150 to just spite some people." I feel the same way. But we never know. We never know. We never know. Yeah. To be absent from the body means to be present with the Lord.
Amen.
If Jesus doesn't come, some of us in this room could very well have the opportunity to lose our physical lives as martyrs in America for simply standing with the gospel.
That's right.
I got to know some of you through my parents before I was even 4 years old. I went to school with some of you right up here at West End Elementary School. Went to high school with some of you. Went to college with one of you. And we've intersected and we've crossed on almost every level of life. But I just want to quit preaching now and testify to the fact of saying, I've been disappointed in family. I've been forsaken by friends. But I've never been disappointed in Him.
Amen.
Nobody quite like Jesus. Bo, when you and I were rooming together on one of those Thursday night sessions with Miss Henderson, I got to thinking one Friday driving home about how great the gospel was. I was 18 years old, maybe. And I got to thinking, you know, until God just opens up some doors, I need to get me a radio program. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any cents. I didn't have any tapes. And I didn't have any fear. Before I even went back over to the house and gave Mama my dirty clothes, I drove right up this road, up to Averill Mill, turned left, went up to WELP. It was 5:45. Smokey Smith was getting ready to lock the doors. He didn't know me from that. And I said, sir, I want a radio program. I'll never forget, he just got a smile. He said, well, come on in here. He set his keys down. He said, we've got a little spot here on Tuesday mornings at 10:45. I said, I'll take it. He said, I didn't tell you how much it's going to cost. I said, okay, I'll take it. And it didn't cost a lot. But he asked me, he was so kind. He said, have you ever done anything like this before? And you know I haven't. I said, no, sir. He said, you're going to have to bring me tapes. He said, you're going to have to think of a name for your program. And my project that weekend was to think, what could we call this program? And God gave me a name for the program that has been more than just a name of a program, but it's been the mission statement of my life. And one day, when I'm with Jesus, my wife and sons will put on my marker 3 simple words. Just for Jesus. Would you stand, please, with every head bowed and every eye closed? Miss Ann, would you come over here to the piano and just play very softly? Robert, I didn't ask you to do this, but would you mind singing that again? The longer I serve, the sweeter it grows. I'm going to ask these dear pastors, these men of God,